I mean, that's the thing, is that the series, this film kind of acknowledges that Tobey Maguire went through an arc through across 3 films, but Andrew Garfield didn't quite go through. And that's that really interesting conversation between Toby and Andrew, where Toby keeps saying, "You're amazing. You're amazing." Like, now, obviously there's a joke in there, right? Because
of the movie title.
You are the amazing. But what he's trying to do is close the arc on that character arc and say, "No, I know you were part of the shitty Sony, thing. I know that you were, the last time we saw you, you were part of the death of Gwen Stacy. I know that the last time, you were seeing you were a loser, but you're not. And as someone who has completed that arc, I'm telling you, you are not." And that's really, that was an incredible, that's what made them more than just cameos. Like, there was an arc that needed to be finished. And Tobey Maguire was there to finish not only Tom Holland's arc, but also Andrew Garfield's arc. Yeah. Of course, which ultimately happens when he saves MJ, which got, I don't know about the cinema you were in, but he got a standing ovation.
We got the clap.
Yeah. People, even though we saw MJ falling in those trailers, people gasped when they saw MJ falling. And when he saved her, which I kind of suspected was going to happen, I don't want to be a smart ass, but
I feel like that was too, but it was just, again, theorizing it and seeing it are two different things.
Oh, it was it was just amazing. The fact, again, getting right back to my original point, these Spider-Men were not cameos.
Yeah.
They had a part to play in this story, and it goes right back to how they came into the story, which is that when May died, I was like, far out. This is depressing as hell. He stands there.
Are the people that if Marvel had done what Marvel typically does, I would have expected them to kill off Happy, not May, because Happy would have been a hit, but it wouldn't have been a major one. We'd have been like, he doesn't really have a major part, but it's like it's a loss because he's been around for so long. But it wouldn't have been.
You killed the director of Iron Man,
right?
But
at that moment, you can't kill Happy because.
There's so much
in Stark Industries aside from Pepper.
Right, but that's the thing. Like, but you could have, like, if they just said, "Oh man, Pepper Potts is just doing it and being a single mom and raising the kid and working Stark Industries," as an audience, I don't think we would have been as affected by it. But May,
no way.
But May being literally the only family that remains for Peter Parker, he is truly an orphan in the truest of senses.
And the one who stood up for the Green Goblin, right?
Yes.
The Green Goblin. That son of a bitch killed the woman that was just betrayal of the highest order. That was devastating. At the end of that, when he's standing there looking at J. Jameson, which was, again, superb by Simmons. Like, he just nails that. Like, he is.
He is J. Jonah Jameson. Tony Stark, J. Jonah.
When he is standing there staring at that big screen of Jameson saying, "This guy's crap, he's going to hell." And after May has died, I thought to myself, "Oh my God, this film has dragged me to the 7th level of emotional hell." And then the Spider-Mans turn up. It's the last thing I was thinking about. Like both of you guys, I was presuming at some point we were going to see them. But to see them at that point, when he was Tom Holland and the story was at its absolute low, and to see them come in at that point of the story was just script writing genius.
Yeah,
like it just because it was like, I don't know how your crowds were, but my guys gave that a standing ovation, not just because they were happy to see them, but because of the time they came in. And came in the story when we really needed them to be there. Where Spider-Man needed them to be there. The crowd, audience, we needed them to be there. And also gave them enough time to go through the character arcs which they were about to go through. And I got to take my hat off. Take the hat off to the writing. I mean, it always comes down to me to good, whether it's the Endgame or Infinity War, these really good movies that Marvel does, or this one. So much thought goes into the script writing.
Yeah.
So much thought goes into them.
I'm even going to say, again, going to your point, what the typical MCU formula would have had to do would have been Ned somehow being able to make the circle, and then we would have gotten Endgame entrance moment again with the cameos of the Spider-Man. If this had been under a normal MCU formula, and that's what goes to your point of how impactful the script writing and everything was, because like you said, they didn't come in to save the day. They came in to save the character.
Yes.
Not the moment, the person. And that is a much bigger deal. And it makes it a much more emphasized, because honestly, I really wasn't sure. Even whenever they entered in, I was like, oh man, that's kind of convenient that they're just doing it. But then as it went on, it was like, no, this made sense. Let it be a slow reveal. Let it be steadily inside, of this thing, because I would have hated it. I mean, I would have still loved it if they like somehow swung in and they were like, oh, Sandman, Goblin, yo, you guys got to come back, and Lizard and Electro, yo, you need to come back, and it would have been like, cool, they're all in. It would have been an epic moment, but it wouldn't have had that emotional tie, and to be able to be like, yo, you got the Spider-Man family, even if they're in cross universes,
and that's what I found interesting as I was reflecting on this, on the whole Spider-Man story in the MCU, starting way back to Civil War, now to where we're. It's one of the key themes. One of the key things that appear in this MCU is Spider-Man needing mentors. We start with Tony Stark for the bulk of the story. We then go to Mysterio. He's a false mentor. We then go to Doctor Strange. Not much of a mentor, although he tries. He's not real. Oh, he doesn't really even try. He kind of bounces around, and finally, Spider-Man has to turn to himself, or versions of himself.
Yes,
like that's what's really interesting. He has to turn to versions of himself to figure out what to do, and that's really kind of a spiritual concept, or like a Buddhist. Go within yourself and find yourself. But versions of himself turn up to become the mentors, where it's like a self-strength. He becomes his own mentor to go into adulthood, become the hero, which is the hero.
That's been how every single one of his movies have ended. He starts off with somebody that he looks up to and attaches to, and realizes that he has to get it done himself. Like in Homecoming, it was lifting the building off of his body after Vulture blew up the building and it landed on him. And he's crying out for help, and there's no one there to help him. So he has to lift it up. In Far From Home, it's the realization that Nick Fury isn't available to him. He's got to be able to mentor. He's got to be able to deliver the good as the hero, and the responsibility, regardless of how fun or not fun it is, but for himself, and be able to complete Green Goblin and defeat Mysterio in it of him, and pull from what he's got. And then to end it at this one, which is, like you said, his looking at his own mentors internally, even if they were externally presented, internally, to realize that you have to give up everything to be able to take care of the responsibility of this great power that you have.
I mean,
and hold it.
Let's savor for a moment how they use the term. With great power comes great responsibility. In this film, it's several people have made the point that at no point in the preceding MCU
you never use it,
and when it does, May says it before she dies, and then it becomes the phrase that connects all three Spider-Man together.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember it very well, but he starts the phrase, and the other
then Garfield completes it.
That's so good.
Yeah, no, that part teared me up, because it also emphasized the uniqueness of having a multiverse that makes sense. Because we all know the Uncle Ben story, and when you really deviated from that, which we were happy that it wasn't there, they kind of implied that Uncle Ben had been there, but we just didn't need to see them anymore. But in this situation, we almost removed the factor of Uncle Ben in a sense, like being a part of Aunt May, in a major sense, and you get this element that while everybody's story, like you said, it connects. Everybody's story is different in a different way, but they're all unique. If you're a Spider-Man, you're going to lose somebody significant. If you're a Spider-Man, this is the term that basically is your motto. At least this is the this is the nexus point for Spider-Man.
Let's remind our friends to please click on the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know when we have new videos out.
Subscribe.
God, oh God.